Hi, everyone. It's Melanie Warner here with Defining Moments TV. Thank you so much for being here. We're so grateful that you're spending time with us here on this Thursday afternoon. We have so much to talk about today. I'm so excited to share with you. There's so much going on. And I have a very special guest today, Miss Suzanne Sibilla. Suzanne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, Melanie. It's so great to be here.
Oh, absolutely. I know you have some really exciting things to share, things going on in your life and your career with your books. This is, we should just call the show Book Nerds because that's really what we do is we talk about
I
books.
love that.
We love books.
So
We
great.
read books. We write books. We sell books.
Uh-huh.
We fall asleep to books or whatever, and it's like, I love the fact that, when people think about books, and how they have changed your life. So if you're watching and sharing with us today, one thing I really want you to do is stop and think for a second about a book that changed your life, right? And it could have been a fiction book, it could have been nonfiction book, maybe it was the Bible. And will you share that in a chat with us? I know we can't, we're like streaming on a lot of different platforms right now, but I'm looking at the comments so I can see your comments. I want to know, think about a couple of books, one or two books that really changed your life, and share that with us because we love to know that the words that we speak and the words that are immortalized in books are reaching people and resonating with people on so many levels. And you're going to hear a lot more about that today. But first, I want to introduce Suzanne again and say welcome for being here. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Tell
having
us,
me. So great.
absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you. And if you would, one of the things we love to share on this show is a defining moment. So something in your life that maybe led you to a place you didn't think you would be.
Yeah, sure. So again, my name is Suzanne Sibilla, and I'm a life and business strategist. I help high-level professionals and organizations to pivot through change so they can be productive, engaged, and empowered. And I actually met Melanie. She's my publisher. So I wrote a book called Pivot You. I'll show you the book. It's also here in the background. Pivot You, 6 Powerful Steps to Thriving in Uncertain Times. And actually, I was going through a lot when I wrote this book. I actually met 10 of my half brothers and sisters that I didn't even know existed about 6 years ago.
Wow,
And
that's a lot of extended family.
it's a
10?
lot of extended family. Yeah, 10
And you didn't
half
know they
brothers and sisters.
existed?
And I didn't even know they existed. And they actually live, I think like 6 of them live a half hour away from where I live.
What? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that's great. You
Talk
could have
about
ran
a
into that.
defining
You could
moment.
have ran into them at Denny's or
I
something. Oh my
know. It's so
gosh, that's
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the most defining moments for me. And then also meeting my dad, who I had never met before, actually meeting him on FaceTime a year prior to his death. So that was
Wow.
an incredible moment for me to meet him and to meet my whole family. It was really amazing.
Wow, that's
Um,
incredible. I mean,
yeah.
and especially, I mean, I'm sure there were a million different things going through your head at that time because like you had to find out first that A, that it was like happening, you know what I mean? Like B, that they even existed. And then how did you begin the process of even hunting them down?
So it's really interesting, with all social media and the way social media is. It was actually through a cousin that lived in the UK, of all places. He was coming out to visit us in San Francisco, and he said, "Oh, I'm here in the city. Would you love to visit?" Yeah, sure, that'd be great. And then as we're talking, he said, "Would you like to meet who would be your half brothers and half sisters?" I'm like, "What? I what?" Yeah, of course, I would love to meet them. And so he connected me with my half sister. We talked on the phone before we actually met each other, and I felt like we had known each other our whole life. It was
Wow.
absolutely amazing. Then we actually met each other at a restaurant. We ended up talking, and then she introduced me, to my half brothers, and that was also incredible as well. I met my half brother at a restaurant, and as we're sitting there at the restaurant, this woman walks by and she looks at him, she looks at me, and she says, "This has got to be your sister." And he says, "Yeah, it is. However, we just met each other." And she's like, "Oh, well, you've got a lot of catching up to do."
Oh
So,
my gosh. I bet that was one interesting Christmas.
yeah. Yeah, it was
Wow.
absolutely amazing. So that was again, a very defining moment for me. And actually, it was really something that I saw that I could really pivot, really change a lot in my life. That I've gone through a lot of changes in my life, and that's really the reason why I wrote the book on pivoting, because I saw that as a country we were dealing with so much, with the pandemic and a lot of social issues going on. I said we need something, to help us all to deal with this, with the crisis going on. And that's when I wrote the book, Pivot You, about mindset and how important that is. About we can change our mindset. We have control over that. We can
Well, and
look
I
at
love
things
I
differently.
I love what you did because, you know, when we first met, it was during the pandemic 2 years ago.
I
And
know.
you were facing a lot of challenges at that time that were out of your control. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember you were like, okay, I have a choice. I don't have a choice about COVID or the circumstances and all, my life falling apart and all these things going wrong, but I have a choice about where I take this. And,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people just kind of checked out and they started growing gardens and binging Netflix and things like that. And when you look back at the people that grew the most, their businesses grew, they grew as a person. They went to work during that time. They took advantage of the shutdown and they said, I'm going to work on me, or I'm going to work on my company, or I'm going to focus on this thing right now. Because if you focus on what you can't do, all you get more is like an awareness of what you can't do. If you focus
Right.
on the negative, you're going to get more negative, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
what you focus on expands. And so
Exactly.
you made the decision to take this huge risk of like, okay, I have nothing to lose anyways. I might as well do my book, basically.
Exactly, exactly. I mean,
So
I'm so
tell it.
glad and so fortunate to have met you during that time because, yeah, you're right. My husband was recently retired. Our son was doing distance learning like a lot of kids.
The
I had
pandemic parenting.
I had two lucrative contracts that were suddenly frozen. And we had a tenant that wanted to reduce his rate by 40%. Like what I was like overwhelmed. I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do. And then I was scrolling through Facebook again. There was just scrolling through Facebook, and that's when I see this ad for Tony Robbins. I'm like, oh yeah, Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins. I was actually had a mentor coach about 15 years ago from the Tony Robbins organization. And so I ended up joining this knowledge broker blueprint. And from there, that's where I met you, Melanie. And then I heard about you, doing books and authoring books. And I thought, wow, this is a great time. So that's when I got involved.
Okay, I gotta plug in my computer.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm like,
We're
you know,
live.
don't worry. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. I forget to do that. Like it's sitting right here. Thank goodness at least the plug's in here today. And
Yeah.
like this is the fun part when you're doing these shows from your home as opposed to a studio where you have a team of people that are supposed to be helping you with and then
I
it's
know.
like the blonde leading the blind, like it's just me. So thank you for your patience. Excuse me while we have a temporary technical difficulty, people. Um, so it's funny because Tony has been one of my mentors for over 20 years. Tony Robbins. I just love the guy. He's so sweet. And he really is that real of a man. Like he is this giant, gentle giant that loves everybody. And, even he has come to this point in his life where he realized he had restrictions. And he said, I can either take my skills to the grave or I can teach people how to do what I do. And that's a good mentor, not somebody who
Mhm.
goes, well, if I give out my skills and my secret sauce, people will copy me and then I won't have a business. Like that is not somebody. He doesn't have that kind of mentality, and neither should we, right? Because
Mhm.
there's so many people out there in the world that need support, that need help. Like we're looking at books that were written 100 years ago, like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. We still don't know how to do that stuff. We have all these resources. We have the internet, we have mentors, we have guidance, and we're still failing miserably in some areas of our lives. Or you see people that succeed very well, and you see this all the time, people that are financially really well off, but maybe they sacrifice their health or a relationship or a marriage to get there because they put so much focus on just that one thing and they didn't learn how to balance it. And so what I love about your book is not only does it become this tool to, where you, as a business person, your business is the greatest personal development tool you'll ever have, right? Our businesses constantly challenge us, constantly make us want to be better and do better and be able to serve more and help more. But it's interesting because you give people the tools not only to help themselves get through these things and really help them be aware of the mental gymnastics that are going on in their head and how to stop that from happening, how to get more balance in your life, how to quickly be able to change so you're not emotional and you're letting yourself drag down and go, oh my gosh, this is all happening. And as a business person, you can't afford to get that way because it's not just our bills. It's not just us as individuals. We have families and lots of people and a team of people that we're feeding and protecting and helping. And it's like, you can't just give up, right? Like that's the hardest part.
Exactly.
But yet sometimes you don't know what to do. So tell us a little bit more about what has happened since you wrote this book. And first of all, if you wouldn't mind sharing, how in the world did you find time to write this book? Because you're a mother, you're a wife, you had this business, you had all these clients, you had COVID, you had all this stuff, pandemic parenting. How in the world did you find time to write this book?
I know that's a good question. I really put together a structure or routine in place. So I would, focus in on, I know that you have these classes, online. So I would focus in on the classes online on Sunday. And then I put the schedule together and then every Sunday I would listen to, your online webinars. I'd listen to that. And then I would write a couple of things, in terms of the chapters and such. And I actually was able to write the book in 3 days. I know that seems like kind of crazy, but I was able to do that. I think also too, because I had a lot of the content already from doing these workshops. And so
if it's in your head, you don't have to research it, because if you're the expert at something and you have already had this experience and you're the authority on it, you don't have to go ask somebody else's permission. You know what I mean? Like you can write what you want to write and the outcome and the steps that person needs to take to get out of that hole and be able to pivot. So the answers were in your head. You just needed to extract them and you needed to have, like you said, that structure to get it done. And you actually took some action and got it done. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And 3 hours. That's amazing.
3 days, not 3 hours.
I mean, 3 days, not 3 hours.
I know. Like you keep listening to it.
3 hours.
3 days.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Cool. Yeah,
it was a short story.
Yeah.
It was I wrote a blank notebook in 3 minutes. So 3 days. And then tell us, so what happened when your book came out? Like that's your book behind you there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's my book. This is my book. So it's it's amazing what happened is I was in all these publications like Fast Company, which is amazing, Authority Magazine, Thrive Global. I was on the list. An Australian company also, interviewed me twice. And actually now they want to, continuously interview me. I mean, I keep getting emails from them. They said they want me as their guest, every month to do a talk on, again, how to pivot. And
contributor.
It's amazing. And now I'm also hosting a TV show actually on Tuesdays. It's called Pivot Now on E360 TV. And very excited about it. It's going to be launching live, going on E360 TV, and it's going through Roku, Amazon Fire, Android, and Apple TV, as well as all the social platforms. And so I'm going to be interviewing guests that have pivoted in their life or in their business, and they'll give us tips as well. So the first guest that I have is actually Jeff Wickersham, who is another author with our community, and he'll be talking about how to fire up your morning routine, how to win in your morning routine. So I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
and Jeff
you.
has done phenomenally well. Jeff has been one of those that went in and just took the instruction and just took it to a whole new level. Like last time I talked to him, he was doing like a movie deal and all these things. And he had gone from like this brick and mortar working, like as an individual trainer with a gym to like becoming this global fitness expert in a matter of months. And that's what his book did for him. So it's perfect that you guys are coming together to launch your show. So tell him I said hello and congratulations on your show. Very exciting for
I
you.
will. I will. And another person that's also in our author community, Tanya McCready, is also coming on the show as well. So she'll be
Tanya.
talking about,
Yeah,
yes,
she's great.
yeah,
She was actually on last week on our
I
show here.
know. I
And
know.
I was blown away when she was talking about what's happened to her in the last 2 years since COVID. Same thing. She thought everything was going to shut down. And she said that she had taken some direction, some of the things we had talked about, strategized about during that time. She just blew it up and did an amazing job and has built an 8-figure business since then, has sold over 10,000 books and is
Wow.
getting keynote speaking engagements like Coca-Cola and some of these others where she's getting like $10,000-$20,000 speaking in fees for like corporate speaking engagements, which that was always her goal, but she didn't know how to get there. And it was a book that gave her the wings to do that. And she had even written another book before and they sold a little bit. And like, she kind of had some basics, but she really didn't know how to leverage that until she ended up doing a book with Defining Moments Press. And like, we kind of helped connect her to different people, different things, giving her opportunities to be featured and all that. Just like with you, I know there was somebody we connected you with in one of our podcasts in the UK, and you picked up 5 new clients from one podcast, which was like $25,000.
Uh-huh.
So
I know, incredible. It was really incredible. And it's been incredible. I mean, I've gotten all these different coaching clients and it's absolutely amazing. And the people and the connections that I've made as well. I mean, it's been amazing. From writing the book, like leveraging the book has given me all these opportunities and meeting you and meeting all these wonderful and amazing people.
So did you ever think about what you would have lost if you had put it off? Like, look at all these things you've done just in 2 years. What do you think it would have cost you to not do your book? If you were going to put a number, like a financial number or like income, impact, customers, clients, like think of all the things you wouldn't have right now if you hadn't done your book. Could you put a number on what you think it would have cost you, even just in the last 2 years, much less a lifetime of not doing your book?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I don't know, but I know that it's, pretty incredible in terms of how much I've been able to accomplish in the past two years. And a lot of it has been through the book. I mean, leveraging the book and getting coaching clients. Cause like right now I had up to 25 clients and I was like, that was way too. So I have 15 clients and then I'm also getting corporate clients. So yeah, it's been really amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So what advice would you give to somebody that's out there that's owning a business? Maybe they're a coach or a consultant, similar to what you're doing as specialists in your field. Like if they're saying, I don't have time, or I don't know if I should spend the time, like what advice would you give to somebody that's kind of on the fence about actually writing a book?
I think do it. Do it because you can really leverage the book as your marketing tool. I mean, that's how I've been able to do that is people see that, oh, you've written a book and it's a bestseller. Wow, you must be the expert. You must really know what you're talking about. I want to buy the book. I want to know about your programs. Want to get to know you as a coach. I want to hire you as a coach. I want to hire you as a business person. So the book has been tremendous. And I've gotten so many marketing, in publications, on TV, all of this, and it's all because of the book. It's all because of the book. If I didn't have the book, I don't think I'd have all of these publications, TV, promos, all of this stuff going on. The TV show going on, that's also part because of the book. Because I ended up meeting someone who's doing a TV show and they introduced me to the producer and they said, yeah, this would be great for you to do. And so that's what I'm doing. And it all led from, like I said, from writing this book. So it's been amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I love it. Oh, I hope I didn't screw up the link. I'm so bad about this. I'm trying to multitask. I want to put the link in. This link is kind of wonky in here. Like it's always a little bit weird. Okay, let's see. I'm going to do it as just a separate thing. Okay, here's the link for the show. And I did put it here in the actual links of all of the social media channels and YouTube. So you guys can actually scroll down and see all of the links of how to follow us on YouTube or any of our social media channels. And also subscribe to this channel, because then you'll get notified when we go live. And sometimes we do little surprise things outside of our regular time. And this is where you can get the link also for Suzanne's show. So if you want to learn how to pivot and really continue to grow your business and build your team during a time where like the world is always changing, the markets are always changing. And guess what? If you're a business owner, then it really doesn't, I know this is going to be a controversial statement. If you own a business, then what happens at the stock market does not directly impact you as much as it does a lot of other people that are in finance or relying on the stock market to retire or their 401k. When you're a business owner, you are your own stock, right? And you have to invest in yourself. And because the idea is there's a point where, you don't have control over everything that happens to you, but you can create your own microeconomy to where what happens is what's happening on your street, in your world, in your business is way more important than anything that's out of your control in the stock market, right? Because you have the ability to create that value for yourself. Being an author gives you authority. You don't have to go ask somebody's permission to do a TV show or to start a magazine or to write a book. You don't have to go to a major traditional publisher and have them decide whether you're worth the risk and whether they want to invest in you. A lot of people also write books to actually build their business, to get clients, to convert their clients, or even to franchise out or to get certain amount of funding because they just want to raise the level of their own authority in the world. And so this is where I think it's so important for people to just take the action, because so many people get stuck in that and they don't take that action. And like, this is beautiful. You're starting your own TV show. You didn't have to ask anybody's permission. You just said, I'm doing it.
I know. Really exciting. Like I said, I didn't realize, you start your own TV show. I'm going to do it. And then to have these guests that have done such amazing, incredible work and such, incredible businesses. And then to have them as guests on my show is just, you got to watch the show.
Well, and it's about authority. It's about, like you were creating your own authority because you didn't have to ask anybody's permission. And that's the whole point. It's so empowering. I mean, and I'm laughing about how like my dad was, he's 86 and he built his, he wrote like 4 books. And it's just like this regular passive income that he didn't know he would ever have at that stage. He's an attorney and a little league coach and a Sunday school teacher for over 50 years, all of those things. And yet his passion was Sunday school, and he wanted to write a book about Sunday school lessons. And when we helped, and so we said, okay, great, let's research it and see how many people. There were 14,000 people every single month searching for that kind of book. So he literally just wrote the book then, and that people want to read, not just the book he wanted to write. And we have all these tools and all these fun little things that we can research things. So we kind of can guess, like, did you know there's a journal out there? Okay, this is like one of my books that's like a workbook style, right? There's a journal that's a mother-daughter journal that's generating about $15,000 a month, and it's blank.
Wow.
Because you're writing in it, right? Like, who knew how many people wanted to write in a journal, like as a mother and a daughter together? So it's like, it just creates so many opportunities that people don't realize. Oh, I love what Brian said. He said, we've chosen not to participate in the recession. We're going to grow and gain market share while others have stopped hustling due to their fears. Yes. I'm going to give you a high 10. I love that, because it truly is, you're
100%.
You're creating your own economy, right? I mean, when you look at what happened in 2008, the last time we had some type of a what I call a reset in the economy, every other home on the marketplace was in foreclosure. Every other home was like that you drove down the street. And yet look at the people who bought the most property back then when it was low. Look at the people that made billions of dollars off stocks because they bought them when they were low, right? So it's still a time to buy. It's just a strategic time when you buy when things are low and you sell when things are high. And most of us in the business community, we could all see the market was headed this way. We all knew it was coming. So a lot of people sold off their stock early on, and then it rallied a little bit, right? Or they were cashing out on their real estate and trying to buy something else. But even if you sell it at full value, you're going to go overpay for something else. So everything has a way of fluctuating and making it work. And so your business has this ebb and flow. And when you pivot, then you pivot with it. It's like surfing, as opposed to fighting it and saying, oh my gosh, everything's like, the sky is falling. And then you act like it is. And then all of a sudden you get more and more of that stress. So I think when you can talk to other business people that are going through it or have been through that, and you look at where the opportunities are in this kind of a market, it opens up a whole new, huge opportunity for so many people.
Yeah, I always love that word opportunity, because that is where it's at, right? Instead of looking at it as like, oh my gosh, we're into a recession. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, see it as an opportunity, right? See it as an opportunity.
Well, and I see so many people that are, I see banks freaking out. We see it every day. We talk to a lot of people too. And it's funny because I'm going to put your book link in here now. Hopefully I don't screw that up. And so it's interesting because, banks will freak out a lot when this kind of stuff happens with the stock market, because they're completely, dependent on that. Whereas an entrepreneur isn't relying on banks half the time. They have to go out and hustle and find new things and new revenue streams, which is what almost everybody you see on this show has done at some point or another. And then what's funny is then they stop doing loans. So then it creates this recession. And for most people, they have to be their own bank. So like, writing a book, having extra income that's passive residual income, all these things that create other revenue opportunities, it's like being your own bank. And I love that people can see that there's so many different ways they can do that.
Yeah, I love the whole thing about multiple streams of income too, because this is a multiple stream of income. You got the book, and then like, for example, for myself, I've got coaching clients, I've got corporate clients, we have rental property. So it's multiple streams of income, so that if one income, let's say, drops, or if you got something like a tenant moving out, you've got multiple ways of getting money coming in, and also passive income too.
And if you're doing it the right way, it's multiple streams of income. It doesn't feel like multiple jobs, because I know I've been there where, I've had multiple streams of income and I go, oh my gosh, I got to go here, and then I've got to shift here, and I've got to do that. So there's a way to balance all of that too, where you're not spreading yourself so thin. If you have like the right teams and you can identify what's working, because some things are going to be up when other things are down.
Yeah.
But the beauty of your book is it's something affordable. It's recession proof, because everybody can buy a book. And some people will read a book and go, I really want to work with this person. Like, imagine what I learned from just reading this book with Suzanne. Wow, I can actually hire her and work with her. Like, imagine how much I can grow if I have her in my pocket, or I have her on speed dial, versus just reading the book and going through the motions of the book. And I can tell you, working with Tony Robbins, listening to his podcast, reading one of his books is 100% different than actually working with him as a mentor and getting him, that expertise of all of his years of knowledge and what he's done. And most people see him as a life coach, because he's the life coach guy, but they don't realize what a smart businessman he is. And you talk about pivot. I watch behind the scenes as a trainer with their company, like everything that happened during COVID, right? And like how quickly they had to pivot. Some people are like, oh, I lost 20 grand. I mean, we're talking, he lost double figures, like almost triple figures of money. And he talks about it openly. And I remember him saying, oh, we'll just move it to Vegas. They're never going to shut down Vegas.
And then they shut down Vegas. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah.
We'll go to Texas because they don't care, and they have a lot of land and people can socially distance outside. I mean, it was like he got so creative. And you know what ended up happening that I think is so amazing that happened with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and they worked, together to build like UPW and all these incredible opportunities, is what you don't have forces you to be more creative. Even at that high of a level of business, they still had to find a way around it. They didn't just say, oh, well, we're just not going to do UPW with 5,000 people. And they had all these people planned, 5,000 people in this city, in this community, in this one, and it kept getting canceled and moved around. Finally, they just said, let's just do a virtual event. And they had to redefine what a virtual event was. They had to get on with like the president and the owners of Zoom and say, how do we do this? Because that was the only option back then, even 2 years ago, of like, how do we really pull this off? And they literally like broke the internet, and they had this incredible, beautiful event with like 250,000 people. Since then, it's been 500,000 or 1 million people. So
That's wow.
it blows my mind. And,
It
and
does.
I remember Tony sitting there and watching his face, and he was looking around and he noticed families sitting there with their kids, like everybody in the living room, and he could see into their living room. And it wasn't like he was standing on a stage looking out, watching somebody, on the stage where there's just 5,000 people in the room, which is a lot. But he's literally coming into their homes and their living rooms and is being so incredibly blessed by, oh my gosh, to see this multiple generations of people hearing these words. And it just had such an impact. I just remember him being so touched by that. And it really inspired me to realize how much we can do now that COVID shut things down for a while. The one thing it did do is brought the whole world together.
This is so true. So true.
And
and when you talk about Tony, I mean, such a powerful impact. Such a powerful impact. And to be able to do this all virtually. And for all of us now, like we're all virtual. I mean, it's amazing that
most TV shows are virtual.
With people throughout the world. I mean, I have clients that are in Australia. I have clients in England. I mean, in all different parts of the world. It's like you said, mind blowing. It really is that we can communicate to anyone across the world. It's
amazing to see what's possible, right? What you're capable of doing. Like none of us really know what we can do until we have to, and our backs against the wall. But at the same time, when we get that momentum and we have like the right team and we have, this clarity about the mission, it's like we're unstoppable. And it's exciting to watch that every single day. I get to sit here on the front lines and see people doing things that they never thought they could do. What's one thing, Suzanne, and for those of you here in the chat watching, what's one thing that you've done in the last year that you didn't think you could ever do? I'm just curious. What's something that you did that you never thought you could do?
Well, having a TV show.
Yes.
To me, this is, I didn't think, because I grew up watching talk shows. I mean,
and you were on Dr. Phil, which is so funny. Like,
back in the day,
here
I was on Dr. Phil, but I grew up watching talk shows. I mean, I don't want to date myself, so I won't mention the name of these talk shows. But I did grow up watching Oprah and everything. I loved Oprah, and I loved just watching, just watching the talk shows. And so to think like I can actually have my own talk show, and because I love talking to people, I love hearing their stories, their personal life, business stories.
Me too.
And so to actually imagine like, wow, I'm actually going to have my own talk show and I get to interview people. I get to talk with people, the thing that I love to do, and find out their stories and to actually impact other people's lives with their tips and techniques and life hacks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I didn't know I can do this. And now I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And to me, this is, I'm into it and I'm going, oh my gosh, it's more than I thought it was going to be. It's just like there's a lot of parts and pieces involved with it. But I'm doing it. It's like I'm feeling the fear and I'm still doing it.
Well, and that's the thing. Congratulations. I'm really proud of you. And that's the thing. I always like to say, I hate the word like restrictions, and I hate the word, just thinking about fear and how it shuts us down. But if we think of it as surfing that wave, if we think of fear as a wave and we're surfing it, it makes it sound so much more fun.
I love that. Yeah, I love that analogy. That's so much. Yeah.
And I think that's
word.
It can be fun. It can be scary, but it can also be fun, because when you're up at that high and then you're coming down to that low and you're crashing, you have to figure out, okay, how do I hold my breath and survive this big wave? And sometimes the harder, the higher you are, the harder you fall. And so it's learning to rebuild or rethink or do something different, but it's never, ever, ever, ever about giving up. Right. And that's the beauty of it is there's some ways that you can learn from it without it having to be traumatic to learn a valuable lesson in life or business. And it's funny, some of you in the chat, what's one thing that y'all have done that you didn't think you could do that you've done in the last year? And I love the fact that we get to talk to so many authors, and every single one, I have never met an author in my life, okay, 30 years of doing writing and publishing and magazines and books and all that, and reading books and all these things like self-help and studying. I've never met one author ever who regretted writing their book. Not one.
Mm.
And, the other thing that every book has in common is it's going to outlive its author.
This is so true. It's a legacy, right? Yeah.
Every single book is a legacy. And so it's important to write it, again, focusing on writing the book that's going to solve a problem for somebody, and be very specific and very clear on what those steps are to help them solve it. And that becomes your structure and your outline. And the rest of it is you start filling in the blanks from there. So it doesn't have to be this really complicated thing that we try to make it out to be. And
yeah, that was something that I learned too from you, because I guess I had imagined like, oh, writing a book, oh, it's going to take so long and I got to put so much into it. And
people are like,
this novel, and it's got to be this, oh my gosh. And then after meeting you and then talking with you and then finding out in terms of your course, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then to see the book out and then to get that bestseller, I'm like, wow.
Thank you so much. And by the way, if you guys would subscribe to our channel, we appreciate it. And if you want more information about working with us, publishing with us, or maybe you've written a book, it's just not really going out there resonating with people, and you just need some advice or marketing, any type of support. We help people from blank page all the way to bestseller. Even, running into USA, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. I mean, depending on how big your aspirations are, especially for business people, a lot of people want to hit those really big lists. So we can certainly help you do those things. And as a business person, I would say, if you don't have a book, you are easily losing 6 figures a year, maybe even more. Mm-hmm. And we've heard countless stories of people over the years who have used it to, as a speaker platform, as a list builder, as a client conversion model. And, this is considered a B2B book, the Pivot You, because it's targeting business owners. Yeah. Then you hear more about, there's personal development, self-help. Mm-hmm. There's so many people like health and fitness and other personal things that people are working through that someone else has already figured out the solution. So I just want to stress, I want people to really hear me when I say that anything you've been through in your life that has created an experience that you had to overcome, there's value in your knowledge. There's so much value in your knowledge, and you deserve to get paid for that knowledge. And there are people that are willing to pay to learn what you know, to find the shortcut, right? They're going to pay for speed. They're going to write a check to save themselves 10, 20 years of whatever it's going to take to do it. And so I just want to encourage you to think about something that's been on your heart for a while. And if you feel compelled to write something, or you feel like you're ready to move forward and do something, and this is your time to do it, then just reach out. Happy to talk to you. We can have somebody jump on a call with you and figure out the best direction for you. And there's a lot of resources and things that we have for you that'll definitely save you time and thousands of dollars and months, if not years, of doing things the hard way. So visit our website, MyDefiningMoments.com. You can fill out an application. We can a little bit more learn about you and your book, and we'll be happy to talk to you a little bit further about this, because I know we don't ever have as much time to get into everything here today, but we definitely have enjoyed hearing your stories of success, Suzanne. And
thank you.
I mean, it's funny. We can have these conversations every few months, and there's more new things happening. It's just you're just created this momentum. And you did it yourself. Like, you literally created this from nothing. You did it. You built it. And you didn't have to have this big team. You don't have a huge amount of staff or people. You're working from home. You're doing a TV show from home. You got clients all over the world. You literally became this global expert in a matter of months.
I know. It's awesome. What can I say? I mean, I appreciate everything that you've helped me with, Melanie.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it's just, love you so much. You are just amazing. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. You too.
Because it was through your work and through your help and your community that has helped me so much. It's given me wings to fly, really. And I'm just so sincere about that. You've helped me so much. I mean, in getting my book out, getting coaching clients. I mean, just getting, making the impact, making the
Oh,
impact. And I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. I really do
Thank
so
you. You're going
much.
to make me get emotional. I'm like, "Ah."
I'm very grateful for you and the community. It's an amazing and wonderful community of people, of authors. So
Thank you.
I always recommend you. I like highly, highly recommend, Melanie. So go to My Defining Moments and really, write your book. If you're wondering about writing it, write your book. Get into the community with Melanie. You won't regret it at all. It'll help you so much in your life and in your business.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And, and I think too, it's really just about, you did everything we told you to do. You just went out and did it. There's a lot of people that can get the knowledge and the information and don't always take the same action. So sometimes it's not just about having the knowledge, right? Because there's a lot of people that can give you direction, that can give you, ideas and give you solutions. But sometimes people take all these courses and they take all these programs and then they don't do anything. They shut down and they get confused and they're all contradictory. And it's like, the most important thing isn't just the knowledge, it's taking action, even if it's just like you said, 2 hours a week. I mean, you were able to just cram in this Sunday and then put the pieces together. And all in
Mhm.
all, when you really added it up, it was only about 3 days to actually write your book. So
Right. And I
most
think a
people
lot
don't
of it,
know.
like you're saying, is taking action and then taking even small actions, but it builds builds the momentum, and then you find like, wow, and then these opportunities start flowing in, and you're open up to more opportunities, and it's an amazing and wonderful experience. Like I said, I'm so grateful to have met you, and so grateful for all the work that you're doing. And again, I highly, highly recommend you to anyone that's wanting to write a book. The community is a powerful community. The other thing that I love about your community is because we have this accountability part of it. You have coaches that are hold you accountable to write your book and get your book out there and become the number one best-selling. I still remember you saying you have to be that number one best-selling author to write the best-selling book. And I thought, wow, when I first heard you say that, I was like, what is she saying? But then now I totally get what you're
You
saying.
have to
You have to
become
be that person.
you
You have
have to become that person who wrote the best-selling book. I
to.
mean, if you're a best-selling author, if you're a CEO, you're probably not running around with like, M&Ms in your purse and your life is chaos, right? You have to have structure, you have to have discipline, you have to give up other things that other people may be out having fun partying and you're like working and trying to make things happen. So the idea is you might have to give up pieces of your old self in order to be successful and make these things happen. You have to get out of your comfort zone and do things that you wouldn't normally do. And they say like 80% of people out there want to write a book and only 1% do because they're either
Mhm.
not willing or they don't know what to do. And most people have more than one book in them. That like most people have an incredible story, something to share with the world, but they
Mhm.
talk themselves out of it. And I call it your book devil and your book angel, right? And your book angel is like, come on, you can do it. And your book devil is like, no one's going to read this. It's crap. And, and you just like, and they're constantly fighting and you're just kind of like, stop it, stop it, stop it, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
they're in both ears all the time and it can make you go crazy. So having that community and the other authors that are going through it and just seeing people that are a few steps ahead of you, I think is really helpful, to like, okay, this person just a few months ago was here and now I'm watching what's happening with them and like, wow, look what happened when they did this. I should do that. And I just think that's very inspiring to people to be in that community and be able to see progress. Because I think
It is
progress,
very inspiring. Yeah, very much so. Very inspiring, very motivational. And like you said, to see other authors like Tanya, like we just mentioned, I remember when she joined the community because I was her accountability coach.
yeah.
And she was saying, oh, I want to do speaking. I want to do speaking in corporate events. And, she had this, plan, this vision. And to see her doing that now and to doing so well, it's like, I mean, I love it. I love it. I love to see how much she's grown and how much the authors have grown because of the
Oh,
accountability.
I
So
love
it's
it.
really great.
I love it. I love it. I feel like the grandma who's like, or like the doctor in the delivery room that's giving birth to the book babies, but I don't
Yeah.
have to change diapers at 2 a.m., And I love the fact that, like, one thing we never anticipated when we created this whole thing was how much people would connect with each other and elevate each other. Like everybody that
Mhm.
comes into the tribe, like that brings value, like in such a huge way, and they help each other, they support each other. It's amazing, and like some of them even like, work with each other, like work together. It's like, this person
Mhm.
needs help with this person needs help with that, and it's such a great feeling to know that you're connecting people that are like-minded, that are positive, happy people with no drama, that are really trying to make something better in their life and their business. And just giving people the platform to be able to do that is such a rewarding thing, because like I've had my success as a business person my whole life. I've made money and lost money. I've made millions and lost millions. I've had to, rebuild a few times and things like that. And I've had several different types of businesses, but nothing for me besides writing and publishing, like magazines and books, where you give a platform to share other people's stories. It is the most rewarding thing.
Mm.
And I look at, in a few weeks, I'm going to India. I'm speaking to half a million people. I can barely even
Oh,
say it.
wow. Yeah. It's next week already.
It's
Wow.
coming up in a few weeks. And I have two of our authors that are coming with me, Nigel and Leah. Leah's from Canada.
Oh, okay.
Nigel's
Nice.
from the East Coast.
Wow.
And they're going to really elevate their presence and their social media and like really take it to the next level to get in front of a crowd that big. So if you're trying to build a speaker platform, your book keeps giving you opportunities to go from speaking at Rotary to eventually, growing into where you're comfortable and you have all these different opportunities under your belt. Like you write a book, you could go on Good
Mhm.
Morning America, and if you don't have a book, you don't have any way of monetizing it, right? So like this is the whole thing. And if you're a speaker, then your book becomes currency. Your book becomes currency. It becomes a way that you can get paid above and beyond your speaker fees. And then if you have a service or consulting or coaching on the other side, or a business, there's another way to make money on the back end. And we've
Mhm.
seen people make, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions and millions, from the back end of their books. But they all start somewhere, and it's exciting to watch um, what's happening with people and how big these dreams become, and they keep pushing things to the next level. And it's exciting to see all of you do so well. I'm just so proud and so happy that we all met, and that you took that action, faced your fears, had the courage to share your story, and to take these steps during very uncertain times. And you started by being your own customer, because you had to pivot first before you could teach others how to become that person that pivots. And now look at you, like I'm just so excited for you.
I am
Congratulations on
too.
all your
Thank
success.
you. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
Suzanne, is there anything else as we wrap up, anything else you want to share with people today?
So watch the show Pivot Now. It's on e360tv.com, and it'll start at 10 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. We've got some really fabulous guests, really dynamic, energetic. It'll be fun. And we'll give you a lot of tips, techniques, and life hacks, life and business hacks as well. So watch the show.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it, and I'm going to be watching your first one for sure. I want to
Thank you.
see the success of everybody that's been doing it. As far as where they are, I haven't caught up with Jeff in a while, so that'll be fun to watch him. And I just put a link as well for my other book that recently came out, which is Write Your Best-Selling Book in 8 Weeks or Less and Make a Profit, even if no one has ever heard of you. And
Woo!
this is exactly what we do. And this book has become our workbook for our program for so many of our authors that needed these steps. And we documented it and decided to share it with everybody, as opposed to just people that are working within our community, because we want people to have the confidence to get their books done and get them finished and get them out in the world. And, this is a great example of hearing your story and your success, and so many other people that have been on our show, even people that we haven't worked with that are just successful authors who in their own right have had to figure things out on their own and have just had huge success because they actually went through the process of finishing it. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time, for being here today. Really, really appreciate it. Look forward to watching your show and seeing you grow and all the wonderful things that you're doing. And also, I always like to finish out our show with a quote from a writer. And this one is from a writer named Neil Gaiman, Gaiman. And he said, people say, how did you do it? He said, this is how you do it. You sit down at the keyboard and you put one word after another until it's done. It's that easy and it's that hard. And that's what editors are for, right?
Yeah.
So that's it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and share this show if you know people that are writing a book or love to read books. They're book nerds like us. They read books, write books. They want to write a book, have a dream of doing something, own a business. Anybody that is somebody that loves books, that has been changed by books. We love talking to you. We love interacting and engaging with you and are so grateful that you took the time to be here with us today. Those of you that aren't watching it live, make sure you join in, subscribe so that you can get this notice every time we go live on YouTube. And again, thank you so much, Suzanne Sibilla. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week on your show. And thank you all so much again for being here. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.